Fact, I'm Toria. And I'm Tarja. Today we're reviewing the 2020 movie Always and Forever. This video and all our videos on our channel are podcast style reviews in which we loosely give a breakdown and make notes of the movie and give our feedback or thoughts. So it's your choice if you want to watch the movie we discuss or have watched. Subscribe to our channel and continue listening. Make sure you do subscribe. So the movie starts off in 1996 with four girls who seem to be at a camp. They make stand in a circle and make a pact to be there for each other always and forever. Yeah, the name of the movie. And then we jump to the present, which they don't show what year it is, but at Brian and Nicole's wedding. And Nicole is a lawyer, and she met Brian on a dating app, and they both seem like wealthy, put together couple. And he tells his wife, always and forever, each friend giving well wishes to the couple. Then we jump 4 years later with the same couple. So we guess that Nicole is one of the girls from before. Yeah, at the camp. Nicole is at a coffee shop, and she meets up with Miranda, who went to South Africa, one of the women who gave her well wishes in a wedding video mentioned before. And I guess she was in South Africa to help animals, and we learn her boyfriend is a doctor. They agreed to meet at Nicole's house to catch up. So we can also kind of see that maybe Miranda was one of the girls. Yeah, the four girls at the beginning. We then see Miranda at her house getting ready to meet up with Nicole, and her car alarm goes off. The power is also cut in her house. She goes to investigate, and we get a creepy guy in her house. So Miranda, she don't see the guy, but we do. She then sees the guy and runs into her room to lock herself in, but he breaks in. So she tries to sneak out a window, but the mysterious guy grabs her. So what I don't get is why people like all these movies when it's like a horror or a killer type of movie, they always like to investigate when you should just call the cops or leave the house. Like you have a car out. She had a car in the outside in the driveway, so she could have just left. Yeah. Or call the cops. But they end up getting themselves killed. That's what I'm assuming it happened. That she got killed from that. Yeah, because we just see her get grabbed. Yeah. The scene switched where Nicole hears on the news that Miranda died from a suicide. Which don't even make sense because she was just talking about meeting some wonderful guy in Africa. So why would she all of a sudden commit suicide? It just seems so suspicious. We see Miranda's funeral where we introduce to Summer and Brandy. So Summer is a good friend of Nicole. We can also come to think that she was one of the other girls out of the four girls in the beginning at that camp. And then Brandy, she owns a boutique, and she's been traveling around the world, and she also the last of the girls from the beginning. And that's when we see that Miranda and Summer at Miranda's funeral, and Summer, I guess she apologized to Nicole for not coming to her wedding. It seemed like they had some tension between the two. Brandy gives Nicole her number to meet up. We come to the conclusion that, as I said before, that these are the ones in the beginning at the camp. Side note, I just want to say, every person I feel like in this movie is, beautiful. They all look kind of like model types or something. Like, they all put together. Yeah, they all look yes. For sure. The next scene that happens in the movie is Nicole and Brian coming home from a meeting with Nicole's boss and wife to see their house being broken into, so they decided to install security. More security, because I'm in that big, beautiful house, they should have had some type of security. Right? Nicole decides to have a girls' night, and she brings up the fact that she thinks Brian is cheating on her because he works out of town a lot. So they look through his car, and so they want to investigate whether he's cheating, and finds a letter that says, call Paige. So how many of you have them friends out there that will investigate whether their husband is cheating, become a Spectre gadget or something? Yeah. Nicole then confides in Brian's mom about the cheating, but she tells her not to worry and to communicate with him, which I think was sound advice and logical, just to ask your partner what's going on. Throughout the movie, we see Nicole going to work as a lawyer in a high-profile case while her husband is steadily going out of town. The next scene shows Nicole finally meeting up with Brandy, and they update each other about their life. Brandy apologized for camp, and we go back to the past and see a young man named Peter being beat up and bullied, which resulted in him dying, which Brandy participated in. So we kind of got the backstory of what was actually going on at that camp. Yeah. We then see later in the movie that a crime scene is happening and learn that Brandy died of an overdose. We learned this. She used to be a drug addict. though, because this kind of seems suspicious too. Because one of her workers that was questioned said that Brandy was against drugs. So why was she? So they found her with like a needle in her arm. So why would she have died from that? That doesn't make sense. If she was against drugs, why would she overdose? You know? Yes. The lead detective questions Nicole because she was the last to be shown with her. The lead detectives then start to question Miranda's death note that things aren't adding up between the two women. So it seems to me that someone might be trying to maybe frame Nicole since she was the last person seen with each of those women. Miranda and Brandy. Yeah, so that it seems suspicious. First, Brandy has never taken heroin, which was in her system. Right. And why would Miranda jump out a window? He then questions Summer and Nicole. I don't even get why Summer and Nicole don't think they would be next to die. You know, because, these two people just died and they part of our friend group. Why wouldn't you kind of have some thought that you may be next? Because they didn't even fathom that they'd be next. No, they didn't. We learned that the case Nicole was working on, the guy was found not guilty, and her boss asked her to leave as a result. The next scene shows Nicole talk to her assistant about Peter, and I guess back in the day at the camp they used to call him Piggy Peter. And he was being bullied and how he had a crush on her grown up. They also discussed Paige, the girl who left Letter in Brian's car, and decides to call her, and the assistant also did, suggest they go check her out. So Nicole stalks the woman and sees Brian and Paige having a heated discussion, and she takes pictures of this. So at this point, she didn't even take the advice of Brian's mom. Instead, she decided just to listen to her friend, who told her to just stick out with the Paige girl, what she was doing and up to. Yeah, like we just see them, like the scene shows them in like a car park lot, and they just seem like they got some like angry expressions on their face. And yeah, so she decided to just take pictures of that scene. So I guess just to have backup, so when she confronts Brian. So she decides to confront Brian with the pictures. At least she got like proof first, right? And he tells her they work together, and Nicole doesn't believe it. Apparently, Paige told Brian that she said if he didn't sleep with her, she was going to hurt Nicole. And he said he didn't do it. But Nicole, she didn't believe it and kicked him out the house. I wouldn't believe him either, because why didn't he just say anything, say something before? It would just seem he was just being sneaky and shady behind her back about the whole situation. Like, just tell her this information and then go from there. Yeah, we also never seen, like, in the beginning of the movie, him ever mention a girl named Paige. Right, true. We then see Nicole later on talking with Summer. They bring up Peter again, which we see in the past that Brandy dared Nicole to kiss Peter. The next day, so we're back to the present, and the next day, Nicole finds Summer dead in another room of her house. The lead detective comes to the house and arrest her, thinking she has something to do with it since she was the last one seen with all three women who died. So once again, I feel like she probably getting framed by somebody. She gets bailed out, but they first show Nicole some letters so the letters had like different, individual letters on each piece of paper, like not a full sentence. Right. And at the bottom of each letter was the initial P on it, and then that's when Nicole connected the dots and think that it had something to do with Paige, the girl that I guess cheating with her boyfriend. Right. Her husband. Yeah, her husband. They give a restraining order for Paige, and she resists, so they lock her up. They ask her why she killed Brandy, Miranda, and Summer. Of course, she denies everything, but it does seem like she knows something. At Nicole's house, we see a cardboard cutout that states, "I'm sorry." So this is like Brian. He had the cardboard cutout that said, "I'm sorry." And then, so I guess that's what he left at her house. Yeah, so he just telling her, like, would you please forgive me? So that was kind of like his gesture of saying, let me put this, like, little romantic cardboard paper up and saying, can you forgive me? I'm sorry for the situation with the Paige. So they'll go off for a dinner and make up with each other. During the day, the police inform Nicole that Paige has escaped. How did she escape? I don't even know. Because they didn't even show how she escaped. They just said, oh, she escaped. The lead detective finds information about Paige and learns that she and Peter, from the beginning, from the past, are siblings through adoption. Dun, dun, dun. They charge Paige with murder, and she's sentenced to life. Later that night, Nicole wakes up to being at the campsite we seen from the beginning of the movie. She investigates, like wondering why she's here, and she sees a carousel, and she tells Brian that she remembers her first kiss that night with him as Peter. Mm-hmm. So we learned that Peter and Brian are the same person, which was supposed to be shocking. Like, what? We see in the past that they chased Peter / Brian, and he fell into the water and drowned, but was rescued. He tells Nicole he's been watching her since high school, so he's changed his name as he grew up, and also he lost weight. So you mean to tell me he's been stalking her and her friends since high school? That's just so ridiculous. People need to just pay attention to their surroundings. You don't know who can be watching you. Yeah, and plus, if you think you did somebody dirty in the past, just make sure you did something to apologize or something. Right? They'll come get you later on in life. True. He says how he created a dating profile to get into their life, like the women's lives. They like to do that in movies. Have like the killer explain everything, and the person just stands there. It's like I just don't get why they do that in movies. Instead of like running, like I wouldn't even care what he had to say. I'd be just out of there or try to find the police at least. After this rant, he attacks her, but she managed to escape to the cabin and hides in the closet until he finds her, drags her, and then chokes her until she managed to free herself. And this time she's running. We see her that lead detective dries up, and we back to Brian. He chased her into the woods, even though he like walked the entire time. It's kind of like the any horror movie where the person just walking, the killer, and you running. Yeah, but they still close to each other. So ridiculous. In the woods, they have a fight, and he punches her, causing her to go unconscious. He places her by the place that he almost drowned. She wakes up, and he puts a gun to her head, and she tells him not to do it. As he ran again, she managed to kick him in the balls. He falls back in the water, and then he gets out, chases her again, and about to shoot her when that lead detective shoots him first from behind. Then the movie ends with Nicole like in the EMS, and the lead detective see the notes with the initials P. I told you in the beginning we had like different letters, and so he decides to put all the letters together, and I guess it spells out always and forever. So like, so cheesy, you know. So I feel like the ending basically just wrapped up and showing like how I came full circle in the sense that, oh, I'm gonna take you to the place that you bullied me at, and I'm gonna try to kill you there. But it's good that the lead detective was there to save her. I thought that, yeah. So our final thoughts about the movie, I thought they were like good actors. I like everybody, like all the people, and I feel like all the houses were like all beautiful and stuff, and it also had like a good concept. But it was kind of obvious who the killer was. Yeah, we kind of deduced it in the beginning. Yeah, especially when they had the P initial. Like, she thought it was Paige, but it was obvious Peter. Yeah, you know. I give the movie like a 7 out of 10. I would get like I don't know, kind of like above average. I'd get like a 6 maybe. I felt the killings was rushed. Like, it's not like a lot of suspicious led up to the death. Like, nobody questioned the deaths of the friends except the detective in the movie. And then I don't get why he blamed Nicole when she did try to help him at that camp. Yeah, because he was like, when we were talking about him drowning in the water, she did try to like have a little life raft, little thing to try to pull him back. So I don't get why he was so angry at her. And plus, they like kids. Yeah, true. So, but I do feel like I see why he was mad at Brandy and all the other girls, but he shouldn't have killed them, right? So leave a comment on your thoughts about the movie, and that's our review on Always and Forever. Like and subscribe to our channel and check out our other videos. Thanks for listening. Bye.